All right, let's settle one of the biggest debates in all of tech, a rivalry that's practically as old as the modern internet. In one corner, you've got the operating system that powers, well, basically the entire internet. And in the other, you've got the OS that runs on hundreds of millions of desktops all over the world. This is way more than just a tech rivalry. It's a clash of philosophies. This is the 2026 showdown, Linux versus Windows. So, let's cut right to it. Which one is actually better right now in 2026? Forget the old arguments and the flame wars from 20 years ago. We're going to slice through all that noise and give you a real, modern breakdown of where each of these giants stands today.
Okay, so before we have them go head-to-head, let's do a proper introduction. Time to meet the contenders. In this corner, the reigning undisputed champion of the home computer, and in the other, the open-source rebel that quietly runs almost everything behind the scenes.
First up, you know this one. It's Windows. This is Microsoft's baby, and for most of us, it was probably the first operating system we ever used. It's the absolute king of personal computing. You find it pretty much everywhere. Homes, schools, offices, you name it.
So, how did it get so dominant? Well, it really boils down to a few simple things. It's just easy. You take it out of the box, and it works. Almost every piece of software you can think of is made for it, and if you're a gamer, it's been the default choice forever. That's the winning combo right there.
And then we have the challenger, Linux. Born back in 1991 from the mind of Linus Torvalds, it's a completely different beast. For starters, it's free, like actually free. But more importantly, it's open source. That means its code is out there for anyone to see, change, and improve. And its biggest claim to fame, you can customize basically anything.
Now, here's something you gotta understand. Linux isn't just one single thing you download. Think of the core of Linux, the kernel, as just the engine of a car. Different groups and companies then take that engine and build a whole car around it. The frame, the seats, the dashboard. Those complete cars are what we call distributions, or distros. That's why you have so many kinds, like Ubuntu, which is great for beginners, Red Hat for giant corporations, or even super specialized ones, like Kali Linux for cybersecurity pros.
All right, introductions are done. Let's ring the bell for round one. We're kicking things off with two heavy-hitting categories: raw, nuts and bolts performance, and something we all care about a lot these days, security.
And right out of the gate, Linux lands a heavy punch on performance. It's just built to be lighter and way more efficient. It sips resources instead of chugging them. This is why you can grab a 10-year-old laptop, throw Linux on it, and it'll feel snappy and new. Windows, on the other hand, it tends to get a little sluggish on older machines because it just needs more power to run.
Okay, what about keeping you safe? Well, once again, the point goes to Linux. And it's not just because there are fewer viruses made for it. The real reason is its DNA. It has a much stricter system for what programs are allowed to do. Plus, since the code is open source, you have literally thousands of developers all over the world constantly checking it for weaknesses. Windows, just by being so incredibly popular, is a massive, juicy target for hackers.
So Linux takes a strong lead after the first round on pure technical skill. But this fight is far from over. For round two, we're shifting gears to focus on the things you see and feel every day: gaming and customization.
And when we talk about gaming, Windows strikes back hard. There's no debate here. It is the undisputed champion. Look, Linux gaming has gotten so much better thanks to incredible tools like Steam's Proton. It's amazing. But the reality is, game developers build their games for Windows first. It has the biggest library, the best support, it just works.
But if gaming is Windows' home turf, customization is where Linux delivers a knockout blow. It's not even a competition. With Linux, you can change literally everything. I mean, you can swap out your entire desktop environment, tweak the tiniest system behaviors. If you can think of it, you can probably do it. Windows, it lets you change your wallpaper, but the core experience is pretty much locked in place.
Okay, so we've seen them trade punches on specific features, and it's pretty even, right? But what about in the real world? Let's take a look at the battlegrounds where each of these titans absolutely dominates.
Over 90%. Just think about that number for a second. Over 90%. That is an absolutely staggering level of control. But 90% of what? What critical part of our digital lives is so completely owned by one OS?
And there's your answer. The internet. The websites you're browsing. The apps on your phone. The cloud. The actual backbone of our digital world is overwhelmingly powered by Linux. It's the silent, invisible empire that makes everything else possible.
So let's break it down with the final tale of the tape. Windows is the king of the consumer world, personal computers, office work, and especially gaming. Why? It's easy, and the software support is unmatched. But when you look at the professional world, the infrastructure that powers everything, that's Linux territory. Web servers, cloud computing, cybersecurity, its stability and security make it the professional standard.
So we've seen the stats, the strengths, the weaknesses, everything. Now it's time to bring it all home for the final verdict. We're going to boil this entire showdown down to one simple, direct question. Which of these operating systems is the right one for you?
And here's your guide. See, the real answer isn't that one is just better than the other. They're built for different people with different needs. It's simple. Go with Windows if your top priorities are gaming, having everything work right out of the box, and knowing that any software you find will be compatible. But you should absolutely choose Linux if what you crave is top-tier performance, total control over your machine, or if your work involves programming, servers, or cybersecurity.
So, in the end, the choice isn't really about picking the best operating system. It's about picking the best one for what you do. The battle lines are drawn by your own needs and your own projects. So, after all that, you've heard the arguments, you've seen the evidence. Which team are you on? Team Linux or Team Windows?